Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have these really cool thanks cards to share with you guys, so let's jump right in. So to start, as always, I'm going to cut down my cardstock. I prefer this, it just makes it easier for me to see what I'm working with, so I tend to do it every time. And I am creating 5 cards, although technically I suppose I should have created 6, just based on how I'm playing with the colors, but I chose to do 5, so that's kind of what I'm going with. Now for the black mat, it will be cut down to about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the A2 base, which when scored is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then for the HammerMill panel that you see I just finished cutting, it's cut down to be 1/4 of an inch smaller than the A2 base. This is just my preferred. I really like that thin border, that thin layer look. You can, of course, make it bigger or omit the black mat altogether if that's your preference. I just find that when I'm stamping a black sentiment especially, having that black mat kind of ties it all together and really gives it a nice finished look. But honestly, do whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong in creating. As long as you're happy, that's perfect. Now I brought out a piece of, this is Inkadinkado masking paper. I don't know if it's even still available. I bought this a long time ago, and I cut one sheet in half. So this is 2.5 inches wide, and then however long they come in, I think it's 5 inches. And then I'm going to just tear it down the center-ish, and this is going to create my mask for blending across the panels. Don't ask me why I wanted to do it this way. If you had some kind of deckled edge stencil or something like that, you could totally do that too. I don't own one, so this is just way easier to do than I kind of figured it would work with something else. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. But it does kind of end up giving your cards a very organic look because they're going to be a little different on each panel. Not drastically different, like they all look like they go together, but because on some the area between is a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner, or I shifted the stencil, or I'm calling it a stencil, it's a mask. I shifted the mask over a little bit so it's a little, lined up differently on the card panel, so you get a bit of a different look, but it's just kind of a fun way to create a really interesting card design. And I did end up ripping this card panel a little bit here. I'll show you how I fix it a little later. I was a little frustrated by that, but it happens. It's paper. It's not a big deal, and I can fix it, so I'm not worried about it. So once I finally got this lined up and I was happy with it, I'm going to show you my storage solution for domed foams. I've been asked quite a few times recently about how I like to store my domed foams, and this is actually a storage solution I came up with. I created it a while ago and then redid it recently, it was like a year ago, in my live stream. And I just kind of, show you how to make it, break it down. And there is a downloadable file as well that goes with that, so you can check that out if you want to. I will link the live stream to this video, and you can go and check it out if you're looking for a storage option. Now, I opted to go with my favoriteest rainbow colors, but I've actually shifted the hue a little bit. Normally, I go with a brighter set of these inks, but I opted to shift them down in color, except for Wilted Violet, just because I thought it would be really fun to do it a little bit more fall-esque, if that makes sense. So I've gone with Worn Lipstick, Spiced Marmalade, Mustard Seed, Mowed Lawn, Mermaid Lagoon, and Wilted Violet. And I think that they turned out stunning. I will have to bust this colorway out again, just because it was a really fun colorway to do a more, I guess, fall-ish color palette rather than the brighter ones that I like to use in summer and spring. So I thought that was kind of fun. So for each panel, I'm bringing in 2 colors, and I'm repeating 1 color to the panel. This is why, realistically, I should have had 6 cards, because I could have done like a Wilted Violet to Worn Lipstick, and I didn't do that because I wanted to make 5 cards and so I just kind of skipped that. But so I went with Worn Lipstick and Spiced Marmalade on the first panel, and then on the second panel, it's Spiced Marmalade and Mustard Seed, and then Mustard Seed, Mowed Lawn, and Mermaid Lagoon, and then Mermaid Lagoon and Wilted Violet. So this is where, of course, I could have done like Wilted Violet and Worn Lipstick. I didn't. I only did 5 panels, but you could absolutely do 6. And you did see me there. I just brought in my Nuvo Deluxe glue, and I gently glued down the area that ripped on that first panel. I had no issues with it. It was really simple to just kind of gently, like you put a little bit of glue and then you use your finger and like gently press the paper back down, and then try to gently wipe off any glue that's excess on the panel. I'm also going to hide it later with one of the leaves, because I know know it's there, but nobody else needs to know. So that is something else you can do if you don't want to try fixing it like that. You could, gently remove the paper and then kind of just go forward with, just trimming it and then covering it up. Couple of options, whatever works best for you. There's no right or wrong here. If you were unhappy with ripping it, you could just grab a new panel as well, or flip it over, there's no right or wrong here. And I am going to use the same mask for each one of these card fronts. I will have just a touch of a transfer of the other ink, but it doesn't bother me. If that really bothered you, a stencil would be easier because you could clean off the stencil, but I'm not too bothered about it, especially since we're starting out with the lightest colors and then going into the darkest ones, so they really help mask any transfer of other ink, and I'm not concerned about it. I think there was a little bit of spiced marmalade going into my mustard seed, but honestly, I liked the look, so I was perfectly okay with it. Not a big concern. So we're going to jump into the final color here, and it is going to be Mermaid, Lagoon, and Wilted Violet. And I thought that they turned out really neat. This is, I don't know if I probably say this really often. This is probably one of my favorite card designs I've made in a little while. I make a lot of cards. You guys will know if you've been with me for any length of time. The majority of my videos are card making videos because I love making them so much, because they're such a fun thing to make. And then I, mail them to pen pals. I sell them at markets. I, give them away, whatever. I think that they're really fun because I think receiving such a beautiful handmade gift is just really exciting. So I always really enjoy making handmade cards. So I do make a lot of them. But I have to say, this has to be one of the favorite cards I've made recently. It's so fun and bright, but not obnoxiously bright. I don't even know if that's the right way to say that, but I had a lot of fun with it. And then I'm going to bring in the Tim Holtz Artsy Leaves dies. This is a set. There's, I want to say 9 leaves in this set. I'm pretty sure it's 9. And then you get the little stem piece as well in this. Don't do this. I mean, I did it. It worked, but you shouldn't overload your die cutting machine like I'm trying to do here. It worked out okay. I am cutting these out of vellum. So I'm cutting the base layer of leaves out of vellum, and then the top layer, the stem-ish piece, is going to be cut out of holographic. I just thought that was a really fun way to introduce kind of like a shiny piece into this card design, and I thought it turned out really pretty. So you could alternatively, if you wanted to, create the mat out of holographic instead of black, but I wanted to use a black sentiment, so I thought that this would be just a really pretty and fun way to kind of bring in a pop of that shimmer and shine, and then still have the card design kind of have a black mat and not be quite as eye-catching in that, because I want the leaves and the ink blended area to be what catches your eye the most, not, the matte piece. So I brought in all of the stems. So I've cut out 3 leaves for each card, so I did have to cut a couple of them twice. And then for the stem pieces, I just used what was on the packaging and copied that. So whatever stem piece that Tim Holtz had, aligned with whichever leaf on the packaging, that's just kind of what I went with. But you can mix and match. I mean, they're all pretty neat. So there's no right or wrong here. And you can see that I have cut out extra leaves of the ones that I needed. But this is, see, if I had done a 6th panel and there are 9 leaves, I could have done each leaf twice and that would have worked. But that's not what I did. So, if you recreate them, you could do that and you would have, exactly enough leaves for, if you did it 6 panels, you'd be able to do that. But I didn't do that. So we're going to just go forward here. So then I'm going to try really hard to just add glue, because vellum, when it gets wet, it curls. So I'm trying really hard to add only the glue that I need on the stem piece. You could, of course, add double-sided adhesive. You could run it through like a Xyron sticker maker. You can do a whole bunch of things that would probably be a little easier than what I'm doing, but I didn't want to do that. So this is what I'm doing. I usually forget. And honestly, I had the intention of busting out my precision glue press for this, because if you guys watched a video I recently did, I talked about how I had recently picked up the, it's by My Sweet Petunia, I believe. It's the My Sweet Petunia glue press. And I recently grabbed one because I thought I'd give it a go. And I was going to use it on this card design and I honestly forgot. And it's so silly because it's sitting beside me on my desk. Like, it's not like it's hidden away or anything. I get into the creative mind and I'm just going, and I completely forgot that I was going to bust it out. And then I made another card set today that you'll see, later this week. And I was like, oh, that's okay. I'll bust it out for that one. Yeah, forgot again. I need to just, after I finish this voiceover, I should take it out of the box and then I'll have it ready and sitting there. But I just completely forgot. So I just want to quickly say thank you so much to my members. You guys are phenomenal. I really, really appreciate your support of my channel. You make everything I do possible. So I cannot express how much I appreciate your support. And if you're interested in checking out what the member benefits are, you can check the link down below. It is the first one in the listing. And also, thank you to anybody who has subscribed to my channel. I have a dream to hit 20,000 this year. And I'm like, I don't know, I think 60 people currently away from 15,000. So I don't know if it's an achievable dream or not, but if you are subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me every week. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, but you're enjoying my content, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate you. Like I said, it is my dream to try to grow the channel and keep having this be my, my career path. So I do have to, request you guys to join and just subscribe to the channel and check out my videos when you can. I just really, really appreciate you. So thank you so much. So here, as I'm adhering them down to the panel, once again, you could run these through a Xyron sticker maker. It would be probably easier. I didn't. I'm just going with my little dabs of glue once again. I don't know. It is going to react a little bit with the Oxide ink, but it's not terribly noticeable. I don't think. You guys will have to tell me when I hold them up in the end if you feel like it's noticeable. I didn't think so, but it's one of those things where I'm making them, so I don't always notice that it's terribly noticeable. So I don't know. I think it looks perfectly fine. But if you're concerned about the glue reaction to the oxides, you absolutely could, double-sided adhesive. I would suggest a sticker maker with Xyron or with the Vellum, just because then you're less likely to get kind of a weird reflection through the Vellum, because it is transparent, of course. So finding adhesives that work nicely with it can be a bit difficult. But again, there's no wrong way here. You do what works for you. It's going to be beautiful. And as I always say, like, if someone is going to, stick their nose up over a card you made and not be appreciative, don't send them one. They don't deserve it. I couldn't imagine. I have never had someone receive one of my cards and be like, oh, I can see the glue through the leaf, or something equally odd, right? Not ever have I had that. So if someone's saying something like that to you, maybe they don't get no handmade cards. They don't deserve them. So I grabbed this stamp. This is from the Simon Says Stamp Full of Thanks stamps. I don't know if it's still available. Some of the products, you guys know that I am a firm believer of using what you have in your stash. Bust out some leaves you haven't used recently if you don't have the leaves I have. Doesn't matter. You could stamp them. Like, if you wanted to, you could do the blending in the background and then stamp some leaves on top. Still look beautiful. Like, use what you have in your stash, because we spend our hard-earned dollars on this stuff, and it's good to bust it out and use it and give it some love. So when I got to this one, I actually did not stamp it because the leaf is under where the sentiment is going to go. So I skipped it, and I'm going to move the sentiment here in a second, you'll see. But I did stamp every other one of them. I am using my Misti here, and I do have a Waffle Flower sticky mat in the bottom. I'll have all that linked and listed down below for you if you're interested. So I rarely use my magnet now unless I've, heat set something and it's got a crazy curl to it. I generally don't use my magnet at all. And here, sorry, my head popped in the way there. I was just making sure it was actually straight, and thankfully it was straight, so I was able to just stamp that out really easily. And of course, Aqua is here. She's just above. You guys can't actually really see her in the video much, but she is on the desk. She's just sitting above my glass mat. I did have to add just a little bit of perfect pearls to this because I thought it was asking for it. If splatter's not your thing though, no problem. Skip the step. They're beautiful regardless. It's just that I happen to love the perfect pearls and the shimmer and the shine and the extra, so I tend to add it, but it is not necessary at all. And you can see me, I'm kind of like nudging her head away so that she's not trying to chase the little wand as I splatter this on there. She is standing behind my iPad because I do tend to watch YouTube videos while I create. create. So she's not getting splattered or anything, but she's very curious, of course, because she's a kitten. There'll be one in September, which is crazy when you think about it. And then all that's really left now is to adhere the panels together. I'm going to, of course, adhere them straight onto the black mat and then the black mat onto the white base. I did go and stamp on the inside. You'll see it when I show them at the end. I didn't show it in the video. I brought out my Tim Holtz Leaf Prints 2 stamps and I stamped one leaf on the inside using the colors of Oxide I used on the front. So whatever 2 colors I used on the stamp on the inside. You'll see it here in a minute when I show them off. And I just wanted to quickly chat to you guys about my Etsy shop. So if you're American, which most of you are, you know that tariffs are a thing, and they just raised or they removed the $800 kind of exception to tariffs. So I assume that my Etsy shop is going to get pretty much no sales now, because the majority of my people who purchase from me are American. And now it's not really feasible. I know that Canada Post is currently working on a solution to, charge the tariffs up front. But I don't know. It's one of those things. It's scary because it is a portion of my income. And now I'm, of the assumption that Americans are not going to purchase from me, because you can support American creators, and understandably, like I'm all for creating an artist that you admire, and there's so many phenomenal artists out there. So it's just one of those things where it's scary and a little nerve-wracking and it's a lot of things. So I am trying to work through my digital products so that I can eliminate the cost of shipping and that kind of stuff wouldn't be involved. And I am actually looking at going back to work in an office. So just because I am really nervous about one of my income streams pretty much being completely cut off, that's pretty scary. So I have recently applied for a job like 2 days ago. I should hear something maybe today, maybe tomorrow as this video is going live. So yeah, that's a little bit of an update about what's going on for me. So Etsy has actually shut off buying labels from Canada Post, and UPS and DHL, and all of those are way too expensive to consider purchasing like a label through. So I would say that my Etsy shop, unless I get some international or Canadian orders, which are not the majority of where I get my purchases from, it's not gonna go real well. So don't be surprised if I have to take a little bit of a step back. My videos will continue to go up. It's just the extra stuff I might not be able to do. So it's a little bit of a scary time, but we're just gonna do the best we can and keep moving forward and just be as positive as I can be through the whole scenario. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. And if you made it all the way to the end of this point, please leave me a leaf emoji. It's always amazing to see who hung out through the whole video. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.